Good afternoon and welcome to the 71st episode of TeaTalk. This is your host Dr.Shilu. Today again I have a special guest. He's an entrepreneur, a young dynamic entrepreneur who believes in action than words, and he has chosen to be a creator of job than being an employee. And in this platform we talk about family and career together. So he's an inspiring story to share to us as well. So without delay, let's welcome a very inspiring entrepreneur, Philip, in this Tea Talk today. Good afternoon.
Hey.
How are you? Welcome to this Tea Talk. I have been waiting for you for so long.
Yeah, I've actually been super excited to join this one. So I love the TeaTalk, the TeaTalk, what is it called? A podcast name. So I'm super excited to be here.
Thank you so much. And I too watched your podcast and it was pretty inspiring. And that is one of the reasons that I wanted to hear your stories here as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when I introduced you as a very young, dynamic entrepreneur, which you are. I'm so proud of you, what you have done so far. So tell us about yourself. So what's your business, what you have been doing? So a little bit about your.
Yeah, I'm actually in the online consulting space. The offer that we have going on right now is tailored towards helping busy professionals get involved into real estate, into Airbnb, to build passive income, have a retirement plan, and overall just set themselves up so that they can eventually leave their busy professional life. That's what we do right now. I have a business partner who's also my best friend, JR Rivas. We started this about end of March, and we really blew up. The market honestly loved the offer, and it's a good offer when people call you when they hear about it to basically join in and sign up. You don't even have to sell them anything or pitch them or tell them what it's about. They already kind of know what's going on. But it didn't always start this way. My journey started in entrepreneurship when I was doing online advertising. I was helping brick and mortar stores move their business to online, like restaurants, a lot of e-commerce brands. I did social media management. So just started off with freelancing. I had to go through, basically just started off from ground zero. I was going into restaurants. I was like, hey, can I talk to the owner? And I would pitch the owner on this, $600 a month package. And my very, very first check from this restaurant that I helped out do social media management, I was like super excited. And I believe that anytime you make money from social media or online, it kind of just lights up a spark in your head. Like, okay, let's turn this into a company. How can I build a company and build a sustainable business? And then it led me to do online advertising for solar companies. So I had a marketing company. We helped solar companies by generating them leads, generating them appointments, helping them turn leads into sales. And then just after that, transition over to consulting after my knowledge has kind of just improved. And I understood the dynamic of the online space. So then that's where, JR and I kind of met together. And he was actually my first mentor in the online space. Yeah. So he was my very first mentor, and I paid for his program, which no longer exists. And then when I had this offer that I found for Airbnb, I was like, hey, let's partner together, because we both have Airbnbs. We both do very well in the Airbnb space. We do something that nobody else does, which is, rental arbitrage. Not a lot of people know about renting a property for Airbnb. So we basically just formed together and built this amazing company that's now going to take off. And hopefully one day we're looking to exit and sell.
Wonderful. Oh my God.
Yeah.
All of the things that struck to me when you're explaining this. I mean, one is, again, you talked about the mentorship and finding a mentor and going from there.
Yeah.
And the other part you shared is, I mean, even though you started from this March 2022?
We started this offer. Yeah, we started this company March 2022. Yep.
But behind that, I mean, so many other steps that you have taken to come to this point, right?
Yep.
Those are the areas that I would say that, I don't know, action-oriented than words. Because as a researcher of entrepreneurship, what I find in like many of this research, many of the theories is 50% of the business, the great ideas, they never
Yes.
prosper because they do not take action, right?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
but for you, you have taken the action, you have proceeded from there and come into this place who you are today, right? Where you are today. That's wonderful. And
Exactly. Innovation is really huge. It's you don't really realize until you're like, you look at one company that I've had, and I'm like, a lot of people offer this already. Like, how can I make how can we make ourselves different? What we can do to kind of innovate on this, and you reap all the benefits when you're first to market, right? When you're
right,
first to market on a certain offer, people love it, and that's what we've done here. I think we've done a great job of innovating and listening to our team, hearing their feedback, like, hey, what do you hear from our clients? What do you hear from the people you talk to? Let us know so that we can build a better product. Because I'll tell you right now, a lot of people have great customer service, poor
mhm,
product, right?
right,
We want great customer service, great product. That's how you build sustainability.
right. And
Yeah.
again, it's a two-way journey, right? I mean, like,
Yes. Mhm.
unless you have that ear to listen to them, what they need, I mean,
Yep.
don't go anywhere. So yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
We're going. So, other thing, I mean, in this platform, TeaTalk, again, I mean, I kind of put together like family and career side by side. So,
Mhm.
share us about some of the choices that you made in life. I mean, because you look pretty young, you are young, right?
Yeah. 23. Yeah.
Wow. And like in 23, you have done so many things already. So, what
Mhm.
are some of the choices that you made in life, bringing who you are today, where you are today?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of it is a honestly a whole long journey. I'll start with, since we're talking about family, I come from a very big family. We are very tight knit, and when I mean tight knit, I mean I was in college in New Hampshire, and we would still fly back for family events, for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, and tickets from East Coast to West Coast aren't cheap. But we're such a tight knit family where I knew I had to be there. There's regardless of what it is. Still here. We live in Denver. We still go back for family birthdays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and we're expected to be there no matter where you live.
That's it. Yeah.
And I'm making an effort to do that, because no matter what, I never let work, or I never let my social life get in the way of being there for family as well. But it all started when I was younger. I grew up really fast because my dad was diagnosed with cancer at 8 years old, and I have a younger brother. I have two younger brothers now, but at that time, my younger brother, he's now the middle child, I had to take care of him because my mom was taking care of my dad through chemotherapy, patching up his stitches, changing it out, making sure he eats, making sure he's getting up and learning how to walk again. And at that time, I was like, there's no attention towards us, which is okay, because I'd rather have my dad be healed, and I'd rather take on, taking care of my little brother. I was making him brunch. No, I was making him breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I was helping him do his laundry. I was helping him do his homework as if I was a parent.
You were just
So
eight
that,
then.
yeah, I was 8 years old, 8 years old. So I basically had to grow up very fast, and I was also taught from my parents as well. Like, if, for whatever reason we go to school and he forgets his backpack, he's not the one getting in trouble. I'm the one getting in trouble. I'm like, my parents are like, hey, you should be making sure he leaves the house with his backpack on before we even leave. Don't just check on yourself. So when I was younger, that kind of wired that I was wired to be a parent. And then, luckily my dad survived cancer. But then at 10, he was diagnosed again with another cancer. So 2 years later, after he survived the first one, then it's all over again. Got to take care of him, got to do it all over again. And then he survived that one. And that's when I was introduced to football. I was young. I was in the house just taking care of my brother, school, no other hobbies. My parents like, how about we play a sport? You're super big. I was like 8 years old. I was huge already. I looked like I was 11, 12 years old. So I was really big. So I started playing football, excelled. I went into high school, went to a public high school, got recruited to go play at one of the top private high schools in Northern California. Accepted to go there. Then I got a scholarship offer from Ivy League, Cornell, and I didn't take that offer. I wasn't a big fan of school, and going into Ivy League just didn't make sense for me. So
Okay.
I went to community college and played there. Ended up with 14 different scholarship offers.
Wow.
And when it came down to the time to choose, it was very, very hard. Now, what I'm going to explain here is what you're going to see here is I made a lot of key big decisions that has transformed who I am and also led me to the journey where I am. I could have easily picked to stay and go to school near home, which I
Yeah.
wanted to. But I told myself, in order for me to grow, I really have to leave my family and my hometown and everything behind, because you'll really have a big personal growth spike. And so I did that. I went literally to the tip of the other country, New Hampshire. If you
Mhm.
look on the map, it's California's here, New
Right.
Hampshire's all the way over here. Yeah, tip the tip. Yep. So it's very hard to get back to family. You got to jump on a 6-hour flight to go back and see them. And that's where I was playing football, did really well, and then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, I was like, this is the time to really capitalize and start my online business that I've always been wanting to do. Because I've always wanted to get in business, but I know, regular brick and mortar businesses, there's a lot of overhead costs. You have to have a store, you have to have, employees there working. With online companies, low overhead costs. You have people working remote. And honestly, that's what I wanted to do. So I started it, and that's where it led me into the mentorship with JR, the online advertising space, and to where I am today. So I would say key points is, my family is very tight knit. It taught me a lot about what it means to have community, what it means to have family, people that care about you, people that support you. And also with football, it taught me leadership, growth, discipline, being there for one another, teammates, right? Learning how to build a team, learning how to drive a team. I played quarterback, so I was the leader of the team all the time.
Wow.
So that's where that all combined led me into building a company. Because it's not easy to build, multi-million dollar companies without having leadership and people that can drive a team together. So yeah, a lot of key points that add up together to kind of made me who I am today. And also, like, family plays a huge part. Like, family is really big to me, and also my girlfriend too. So we travel a lot, and I will tell you that 70% of the time of traveling is not for pleasure or vacation. It's to go back home to see family. Yeah.
See, nothing would make me prouder
Mhm.
when you mentioned that. I mean, you are, despite the busy schedule, despite everything, you are taking that time to meet to the family and go back to family and
Mhm.
win it. And as a family studies, family science professional, I was saying, oh my God. So
Yeah.
so thank you for sharing that. And when I got to hear your podcast as well, so those choices, some of the choices that you made, some of the stories that you shared, those are very powerful. And our young generation, right, from
Mhm.
college, who are in the point of making some decisions, and that would be, your stories are really very inspiring to them. And I'm so thankful that you are sharing it today with
Of
me.
course. Yep.
And yeah. Okay, tell me, when you talked about family, like taking all those flights and like not missing like even the small things, events, because that has
Yep.
special value, right? So
Yep.
how in this era you are managing your business, but at the same time family, like personal life plus professional life. Not only
Yeah.
that, I mean, you have your girlfriend, right? So, and
Yep.
you're young and you have your own life in one sense, right? So
Yeah.
family, professional, personal. So how do you balance it? What are some of
Yeah,
the
it's tricky. I mean, number one, I think about it all the time. I'm like, if I never started, my online businesses, and I was, I have to work in an office, I would never get to see family. So number one, I'm really blessed and thankful for that, being able to work from home, being able to work where I want to work. Now, in terms of catching flights, I will tell you right now, um, if you talk to any of our friends, they'll be like, "You're going back to California like every other week." That's because I am. That we are, like, that's how it is. And I'm fine paying. Like, sometimes I think about, I'm like, I'm paying rent in Colorado and I'm going back to California, but even if I wanted to live in California, I would not be okay paying that kind of rent prices there. Like what they're doing there in California is awful in terms of rent prices. So I'm okay flying back. And sometimes it's tiring. You don't have energy to fly, come back home, unpack, get back to work, hang out with friends, hang out with family. But um, I look at it more as I'm blessed to be able to do this. I cannot be complaining because this is the life that I wanted, right? I wanted to be able to work wherever I want. I want to be able to live in a different state than California, but still get to see my family. I want to be able to, enjoy time with my friends and have, enjoy time with my girlfriend. And I wished for all that when I started, and I got it, so I can't complain. That's my mindset, and I know a lot of people today out there wish they can do that, but don't have the opportunity to.
Right,
So
right.
it's more coming from a mindset of just being blessed and thankful for what you have. I think overall, everyone, no matter what situation you have, there are people that are in worse situation. And for me, my complaint is, oh yeah, I'm tired from going all the flights and having to go back to work and balancing my life, but it's bearable, right? Like you're tired, great, catch some sleep, catch up on it. And at the end of the day, like I get to see my family still every single month, because didn't, if I had to work, I'd probably only be able to see them twice a year. So, there's some sacrifices you have to make, but at the end of the day, it's still good sacrifices.
Great, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, again, life is all about the choices that you make, right? And but
Yes.
at the
Yep.
same time, I see that attitude of gratitude in you. I mean, so much of that.
Yeah.
It's the whole difference. Yeah.
Yep.
On this also, I mean, like in the young people like you, especially, I mean,
Mhm.
these days, your mind like occupied by so many things, right? So many things. So,
Yeah.
what are some things that you do to rejuvenate yourself, to refresh yourself, and to, I don't know, to refresh on your mind, I would say. So, what are,
Yeah.
yeah, because
Yeah,
that,
that's a great question, because it's actually something I'm still figuring out, right? Like people think like, oh, you have everything figured out. It's like, no, I may have certain aspects of life figured out, but
right?
people are still working on different things. One of my getaways, right, of no work, shut up, phone is off, is my 1 hour to 1 hour and a half of working out. Like my gym time is my space.
Right.
I also like to wake up in the morning around 8 o'clock. I
Mhm.
like to get out the house, go grab coffee with my girlfriend, because our
Mhm.
first meeting's at 9:30. So it's a
Okay.
great way to get out the house, kind of go on a little walk, go in the car, go get coffee, hang out a little bit before I start my day. And I would like to add, some meditation time. I would like to add, I'm going to start doing yoga classes. I also get, massages bi-weekly. I have someone come to the house, get massages, because at the end of the day, like my body working, I used to be an athlete, so I understand the mind and the body work together. So that I'm taking that time to just invest back into my body and have a little massage. That's the time for myself. So there's a lot of things I'm still trying to figure out in terms of routine, what works well, what I don't like, what I think takes up time. But overall, I think making time for yourself, making time for self-improvement are
Yeah.
the two best ways to get your mind to calm down and not be so occupied with a lot of things. Because I think where people, you know, fall into depression or anxiety, and they fall into a lot of, just thinking all the time, is they never take a break. They never just let go for a second, right? And
Exactly.
I'm making it a point this year to have more peace of mind, to focus also on myself rather than just the business, because they'll both pour in together.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great answer. Because again, I mean, if you do not empty your mind, right? Like the trash sometimes
Mhm.
with so many things, so many that kind of piles up to build anxiety and whatnot. Because even the college students, I mean, they have like over 68% of them are kind of victim of like anxiety, stress, and whatnot. So
Yeah.
that is one
Yep.
part. I mean, we need to definitely give more time. And I love the way you said that I'm investing on my body, because I
Yeah.
mean, many times we think about business only, investing in business, but body, that is the tool to work, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, and you are in such a wonderful place. You are in Denver, right? The mountains. I love the mountains there.
Yeah, in Denver, you definitely have to come visit and check it out. But I living in, the West Coast, California, living in New Hampshire, Denver, honestly, I love it so much, because you get a feel of both, right? You get the city, but you also get the snow and mountains. You get four seasons.
Right.
People here are great. It's very dog friendly. I just got a dog, so
What's the name?
her name is Mochi.
Oh, oh,
Mochi. So she's a Bernedoodle. Now I officially live in Denver because everybody has dogs here.
yeah, yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
So, what are some of your hobbies? I mean, like beside the business and everything that you have been doing. So, what are some things, I mean, you would love to do if you have time?
Yeah. One thing I like to do is just physical activity like working out, going to play basketball. Um, I also like to say that seeing my family is a hobby of mine. I think any free time I have or any opportunity I can go visit family or family can come here. It's great. Like my mom and my little brother, they're coming here and they're going to stay here in Denver for 2 weeks. So I'm excited to do that. I'm still going to be working, but just not as much, because I'm going to be spending time with them. So, pretty simple guy. Love to build businesses. Love to, go out for a run, work out, and love to hang out with my girlfriend and family. That's pretty much my life. Oh, and traveling. Yeah, traveling. I love traveling. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Humble you are, as I can see that.
Yeah.
And what are some of the, or what is one tips or some messages that you would like to give the new generation, like your generation, who
Right.
want to be an entrepreneur, or who kind of choose to not to be 9 to 5 job, but take control of their life on their own. So, what are some of your ideas or?
Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed, from my journey, the biggest person you're going to have to battle is yourself. There's a lot of limiting beliefs that I've had. There's a lot of self-doubt that I've had. There's a lot of, am I good enough for this? Right? Because, entrepreneurship is very hard. The reason why it's very hard and the difference between entrepreneurship and job is that a job, you're going to have steady income,
Yeah.
right? But a business, every month you go back to zero
Yeah.
and you have to build again, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you're going to build systems and have processes in place where, you're not going to be at zero every month. You're going to keep growing, but every month, it's honestly, it drives me now to see, okay, June 1st, zero, let's do it. Right. It's every single month you have to be on board and you have to battle every single month. And I love it. But limiting beliefs will get in the way. And, it makes it even worse if you have like family members that say a lot of things to you and say, maybe you shouldn't do that. Or friends maybe saying, I don't know if, that's for you. You got to block out the noise. You got to have a lot of self-belief and confidence. And the biggest tip that I would have to give for someone my age or younger, move out of your hometown city. Just move out. And I promise you, you'll move into your new apartment and you'll be like, why is my apartment so silent? Right? A lot of free thinking, a lot of free space. Why don't I have friends? It's gonna make you go make new friends, go network, right? Go to all these places. Why don't I have the same sandwich shop that I go to since I was 5 years old? Right? You're gonna have to go eat new food. You're gonna have to go visit different places. So there's a lot more to the world than your hometown. And a lot of people don't realize that because majority of people just stay in their hometown for the rest of their life. And it doesn't help your growth, right? You'll grow a lot faster moving out of your hometown.
Definitely.
Yep.
Great message. And I definitely would love to share this to my son, who is in grade 11 now, and he's to the age that to make the decision whether to go like college here or
Yeah.
yeah. So definitely I'm sharing that tips to him.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of where the generation is going, it's evolving like crazy, right? Like people never heard of online companies, 15 years ago, right? Now it's more mainstream. And I think there's a lot of more opportunities out there than to just say, hey, I'm just going to go 9 to 5. I'm going to sacrifice my time. I'm going to sacrifice 40 hours a week in my life. um, until, I'm the age of 65, which I don't believe that, that's standard society goals. But I noticed very quickly that wasn't the goal for me because of how much I love family, how much I love spending time with friends and my girlfriend, how much I love traveling, and coughing up 40 hours a week. I won't be able to do any of that stuff. So that was a no-go off the bat. Yeah.
So what is your, we are almost at the end of the talk as well, but what is your message to the parents' generation? Because many times they have the expectation, I don't know, like that their kids either go to school, like take the 9 to 5 job and then take the like secure path and whatnot. So what is your message to them?
Yeah. What is my business? What is my business to them?
No, what is your message to the parents' generation? Because some
Oh, yeah.
parents, right? I mean, they kind of expect their kids to like either go to school, take the
Yeah.
job and whatnot. So what would be your message to them?
Yeah. My message to the parents that, put those standards on their children, I'm not a big believer in that, because you're asking your child to be like everyone else, right? So you're saying, hey, I want you to go be like everyone else. And what that does to your child, it paralyzes them to not think ever outside the box. It's follow this guidebook, and this guidebook will take you to all these other people where they're at. And again, you have to have a lot of confidence to be able to say, no way, I'm going this way, right? If everybody's going there, I'm going to try out this way. A lot of more parents today should be more open about their kids just exploring and seeing what's out there. And at the end of the day, if your kid makes a mistake at 20, 21, 22, 23, they're in their 20s. They can recover. They can recover when they're 30. My goal when I very first started, I'm like, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to invest whatever money I need to invest, because at the end of the day, at that time I was 21. At the end of the day, I'm 21. And if I mess up, I'll go get a job at 30 years old. Right. And nowadays, like, it's a lot. Google is hiring. You don't need any degree or certificate. Facebook is hiring. You don't need any degree or certificate. Think about where it's going to go in the next 10 years. They're just going to hire anybody that has a pulse, right? And they're going to teach them and teach them how to operate in their company. So my main message is just being open, because I came from an Asian household where there was standards. There was, hey, go get a degree, go do this, right? Get a job after, work that job, build your way up. Me immediately, I was like, no, I'm going to drop out of college when I was almost done. And I had a year left, but I was sitting in my marketing class. This was the breaking point for me. I was sitting in my marketing class while I was in the back of the class working on my marketing company. And the teacher was like, hey, Philip, why don't you, share about you and, share the class what you do. And I told him I had a marketing company, this and that. And I was on the football team. And then I asked my teacher, hey, I was like, hey, what did you do in terms of marketing? He was like, oh, I didn't do any marketing. I was in accounting. And I was like, so you were in accounting teaching our marketing class. And it made me realize that all these other students in the class are paying the school and this professor that has no idea about marketing.
Oh my
I'm like, this is messed up. This is messed up. So for parents, realize where you're putting your money. Okay. Because most of the parents out there pay for their college, their kids' tuition, sometimes their high school. So just understand where you're putting the money to, because you're most likely putting money to a school that has professors that have never worked that field before, and they're trying to teach your kid, right? Rather than working with, let's use me as an example, working with me, someone that has been in marketing, that understands online advertising and marketing, that has built businesses, and I could teach, your kid probably to do the same. So it's just, it's hard. It's a fine line, but at the end of the day, I would just say for a parent, just be open. If your son or daughter wants to go a certain direction, let them. If they make a mistake, they'll learn, because at the end of the day, you fail your way to success. That's the motto that I live by.
See, yeah. It's interesting that by profession, I'm a professor, right? I'm a teacher, yeah. But you sold the idea to me. So yeah. Sharing that example, oh my God. Okay. we are almost at the end of the program.
Of
So,
course, yeah.
what is one thing, if time and money were not the issue, what is
Yep.
one thing you would like to do?
Wow, that's a great question. I honestly have I've never thought about that, just because my goal about time and money was to build for my future and my children and my future family. That's all I ever wanted, right? Like building something that I didn't have, right? Like growing up, my family there were immigrants. Money wasn't always there, right? Like, I've shared stories on my podcast of like my dad having to sell his like childhood chain, a Buddha chain, which we're Buddhist. He had to sell that chain to make money to put on the table. He was also unemployed during the time he was going through cancer. We moved very often. So, and all my friends had back to school shopping. For my back to school shopping, we just bought a couple pencils and a notebook and we're gone. So life was different compared to a lot of people that I've interacted with when I was younger. So my goal was that my family are immigrants. They work their asses off to provide, nothing near to what we do today. They made it in a country where they didn't know any English. They had no work experience. They just came over here from a boat, and they made it happen. So my goal now is to not, basically provide a future for my children and my future family, and be able to say I capitalized on what my family did for me, because all they ever ask is to not put my children in that same situation, right? They did all those sacrifices for me to be able to take risks, to be able to do what I need to do to be able to provide myself for a future. But in terms of personal pleasure of what I would do if time and money didn't exist, I'm honestly not too sure. I'm not really a materialistic guy. I'm not really someone who, will say, oh, I'm going to go buy a jet or something. I just want to live a peaceful life, peace of mind, not have to worry about money, be able to hang out with my family whenever I want, and just be able to do things I want to do without having to take a second thought. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Uh, Very much tempted, even though we are running short of time. What is your intake about like on mentorship? So why mentors are needed, or why mentors are necessary, or what's the role of mentors?
Yeah, if you look at because I'm a sports guy, like I played football. If you look at any sports team, there's no successful sport team out there without a coach, right? Like if you go watch the Patriots, if you removed all the coaches and just had the Patriots play by themselves, they
Mhm.
probably wouldn't do too well,
Right.
right? Because at the end of the day, you need someone to keep you accountable and remind you on certain things. You need someone to put some discipline in there. You need someone to show you the ropes, someone that has done it and they're looking back saying, hey, just follow my direction and we'll go where we want to go. So in terms of mentorship, like, you just really have to ask yourself, would a sports team play a game without their coach? No. So why would you go into the business without a coach, right? It's the same way. So a lot of people don't think about it like that. They think about it as, oh, I'm paying for a coach. This coach is trying to charge me, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it costs. But at the end of the day, the coach is there to help you make 10 times of what you invested into that coach. And not just that, the coach is going to teach you experience, something that you can never get by yourself, right? And also a coach will expedite your success because they'll show you where they made mistakes so you don't make those mistakes. They'll show you what they've tested so you don't have to go out and test things, right? So, where I've gotten today is because I've invested, over $25,000 into coaches and mentorship, right? Because sometimes at the end of the day, like you just need people to remind you, even though you think you know it all, right? Even there's a lot of other information out there that you may not have.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm glad I asked you this, because one of the reasons that I wanted to know about your point of mentorship is, as a researcher of entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
I saw that, I mean, like over 50% of the business fail,
Yeah.
like when
Yeah.
there's lack of mentorship, right?
Over 50% of businesses fail. And I think like over 70% of businesses only last for more than 5 years.
Yeah,
Um, and people will still sit there and be like, I don't need a coach. I got this myself.
right?
never running business, never being in entrepreneurship. And it's very hard to believe.
My God, yes. And I like
Yeah.
the point that you said that they not only help you, guide you, but expedite the business that you are already in,
Yes.
right? Out of it.
Yep.
So that's a great point. So thank you so much
Of
for
course.
all
Yeah.
your insight. And these are really very powerful, especially for all generation, for parents' generation, as much to your generation and coming
Mm.
generation. So,
Mm.
and keep doing what you are doing. And all my wishes are with you. And thank you for your time today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Huh?
Yep.